Hello there, I'm Linda, and today I'm going to be talking about clean reads. I'm going to tell you today about my clean reads reading plan. The reason I have a clean reads reading plan is that when I started BookTube several years ago, I started reading books that were recently published because I wanted to know more about the things that were being published these days. And some of it was pretty good, and then other books were just not okay with me because they contained things I did not want to read. In particular, I don't want to read a lot of excessive violence, and I don't want to read a lot of cussing. A little bit's okay, but not very much. I don't like it much at all. And so the third thing I don't want to read is sex scenes. Anything that's graphically described or superfluous, it's not even part of the plot, but the author just thinks they have to throw in a sex scene to make the novel complete. I don't like that, and I don't need it. So I came up with a reading plan, and this is just my personal reading plan. You're welcome to take what you like and leave the rest. I wanted to come up with a strategy for avoiding books that contain things I don't want to read. My strategy starts with a list of the types of literature I think I can read without running into the 3 elements of unclean literature that I do not want to read. The first type of literature that I still read is classics. Classic fiction. Usually it was published so long ago, it was in a time when those types of things like cussing and sex scenes were not included in the novels because it just wasn't considered publishable. And so they're pretty safe for the most part. The second kind of novel that's still pretty safe for me to read without having to worry about what's in there is children's literature. Juvenile literature is usually pretty safe. However, I have noticed a trend in recent years for some sexual topics to be included. So I still have to be careful. I am a Newbery completist wannabe, meaning that I am a person who has had a goal for a long time to read all the Newbery books and the Newbery Honor books, and I have found some things in there that I would not want children to read, and I personally do not want to read them either. The third kind of novel that I think is pretty safe for me to read is Christian literature. Most of it is very clean. There may be a little violence. There usually is no cussing, and the sex scenes are off camera, or off the page, I should say. Then there's nonfiction. Nonfiction is usually safe for me to read, and I like reading nonfiction. I like history books. I like memoirs, although you've also got to keep in mind that a lot of memoirs contain sexual information and cussing. So I have to be very careful about what kind of memoirs I read. Usually I don't mind a memoir that mentions sex or a relationship like that, so long as it isn't graphically described. That's not a problem for me. And then the last thing on my list of things that are safe for me to read is the Bible. I am a Christian, and I have developed a habit of reading the Bible every day in the morning. So I usually read 1 or 2 Psalms, something like that, and then I'll go to whatever section of the Bible I'm reading. And yeah, there's some violence in the Bible. It's usually pretty sketchy, though. It's not described in detail. So for the most part, the Bible is very safe to read. And as for those parts that are violent, I just think, if I'm going to sleep at night, I don't want to read those parts. But for just reading in the morning, I can get through it. So those are the types of literature I will still read, and that is my Clean Reads reading plan. And I wrote about that on my blog back in 2021, and I will put a link to it in the description of this video. It contains more information, plus it contains a list of books that I did not think were clean and I regret reading. So thank you very much for listening. Bye.